Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today on this Mendix World Congress. And I'm happy to be here together with KPN to give you some insights, some learnings on our solutions and our approach, and how the IoT, or getting smart, will help our industry to grow as a company, to grow as a service company. I'm here today together with Joris, and I will do a short introduction on ISS Facility Services, what our company is, a couple of our use cases, and how we did come up with those solutions, and how will they help our business to grow, to make a shift from a facility services company to a company that wants to become the world's greatest service organization. That's what we want to be. That's what we want to become. We're in a very traditional industry right now as ISS. We're a global company. We serve facility services across the globe, across all industries. But the real estate and facility service industry is quite traditional, especially in the Netherlands. We are from the Netherlands. In this case, it's a commodity. It's buying commodities. And the shift we want to make as a global organization, we want to deliver value to our customers. And that's the transition we are in today. Today, it's about more than 500,000 employees every day working to serve our customers. Every day again to serve the meals. 1.2 million per day meals we serve. At your office maybe, at the offices maybe of KPN, or the offices of Mendix, we serve you. We want to give value to you because you need to be effective. You need to perform at your site. That's our purpose. We need to understand what your business is. So we do a lot of square meters, as you can see, more than 50 million across the globe. It's about IFIs. I will elaborate on that service model later on. It's about 5.5 million square feet, critical environments. It's like a hospital. It's like taking care of a data center. It's quite important. We do it for IT companies like HP. We do it globally. We serve banks like Citi, Barclays, across the globe, including the data centers, the data infrastructure. It's quite important that we understand what the purpose is of this bank. How can we help them? So more than 500,000 employees, more than 50 countries, I believe almost 60. That's what we deliver. In 2008, we started building this company globally to have a footprint all over the world, so we can deliver the IFS proposition. That's what we do, and that's what makes us different to our competitors. We need to understand what our customers need. We need to protect the brand. For example, the difference is in the world of facility services, there are a lot of models. It's about subcontracting, it's about single service. Our model is we want to integrate the services, and that's what we do every day. It's a part of our business, it's our strategic direction. How can we add value? How can we deliver efficiency? How can we deliver efficiencies? It's not delivering a service yet anymore. It's about rethinking the model. It's about understanding when you come to work, what do you need? When you enter a meeting, when you have lunch, or when a client is coming to your premises, what do you need? What's needed to become a great service organization? What's needed for the client to become great? Like GoDaddy in the US. GoDaddy did a great, major achievement on a ranking in the US. Within 3 hours after they received that ranking in the US, they sent an email to ISS, to the group CEO. Thank you. We could have done it without you. It's you who delivered the value to our company. You did understand our business. You did understand what they need. That's delivering value, and we love it to do that. Well, as we said, a global company, a little bit of our presence, especially in Europe. We're growing majorly in the Asia-Pacific region. Heavy investments going on in the US right now. And that's what's needed to deliver global, to serve our global clients as well. Of course, our local clients, because their offices here or in the region. That's what we do. And this, I already touched upon this point. More than 500,000 humans, colleagues of me every day, working. We need to support them, but we want to unleash the power of the people over there. And then that's where the IoT comes in, and being smart, growing smart as a company. We need, as I said, to understand the purpose of the customers, so we can service them. How do you become great as a company? 3 people empowerment. We're training everyone around the globe currently. We have a program that's called Service with a Human Touch. The human-to-human contact every day on this site is really important for us. It could be in a hospital, as a patient, going from your bed to a surgery room. We need to understand what's going on at that moment when you're the patient and going to surgery. It's not just bringing you from A to B. There's something going on there. And we're training our people on that, for example. And then the IoT comes in. You see a couple of examples here, a couple of our solutions. Because as you can understand, you saw the square meters, the size. It's enormous. And we had the hackathon, jury, the completion of the hackathon today. And the teams with great energy and passion were working on it for 2 days. And our data set was there. It was really cool to see what they achieved. And their data sets only from local in the Netherlands. A couple of square meters, a couple of sensors. We're building those solutions at the moment. We have them ready at our sites, a couple of sites. And for example, property services. Imagine all the sensors. It's about a mousetrap. We started with that 7 years ago. Amsterdam Central Station, all the mousetraps have sensors in it. So instead of sending someone to look in all those tiny boxes, is there a mouse? Now the sensor says, "Hi, I'm here. Please pick me up." Yeah, that's cool. 7 years ago already. But however, we're corporate, so we're a bit slow in our development. So on the other hand, off-space optimization, another good example. Having sensors at the workplace, at the workstations. We have them in place on sites. The data, we put it on the heat maps. When you enter the building, you can see, okay, these seats are occupied. Let me take another seat where it's available when you enter a building. And for small sites, okay, you can say, duh, I can see it myself. I will walk to an empty desk or an empty station. But on the other hand, imagine we have sites across the globe with buildings of 10,000 people in there. That's huge. And when you enter a building then, and you can see where is a free seat. That's quite interesting. Or if you can see on your mobile phone, where's my colleague? Using the beacon technology. That's quite cool. I need some skills. I need some competences. I need a subject matter expert. Where can I find them in the building? Like as you can see in the plane, who's sitting next to me? Those types of solutions we can implement in our services industry. It's also a really good data set for the real estate manager. Every 5 years, for example, the real estate manager gets its budget. Because he has square meters, he has employees on the site. But what is the real usage? What's the real need for the company to have square meters? And then investments in the budgets, they're heavy, they're major. We can deliver data to manage that more properly and to get the benefits from efficiency. Another one, hygiene. You see the example of reducing cleaning operations. It's about operational excellence, of course. The data helps us to allocate the cleaners, for example, at the right time when something is empty or when the usage is high. So there are major percentages we reach in the reduction. Also the improved hygiene, for example, that's one of the data sets we made available. The solution is on, you go to the bathroom and you need to wash your hands. You get the soap, you wash your hands, you go to the paper, you use it, and then you can get a little bit of extra hygiene. It's about sanitizing. And we can see what happens when you leave the toilet. And not everybody uses it. Not everybody uses soap. In fact, at some sites we can see that in the men's toilet, 80% only uses water. And by not using soap, it's getting worse. So with that data, we can go to site manager or HR manager. What will be the impact on the sickness rate? So especially in the times when the flu is in Europe, for example. We had flu 4 years ago. Wow, loads of soap were going to our customers. It was trucks were driving through the Netherlands. It was amazing. But if people don't use it, wow. So just a couple of examples of the IoT, of the data we can use in our buildings. Our industry is growing, and we have challenges of course, going smart. It's not easy for us as a big corporate. I will elaborate on that later on. But there are some really interesting solutions now that we can scale fast, and we need our partners for that as well. Some learnings. You all know this one, of course. We need to learn to fail as an organization. We're quite corporate. We build big slide decks and do projections, and we need to make the forecast. So I was in Denmark last weekend in our corporate garage, and we were advising the board on what do you have to do with the culture? How do you drive a culture where people can fail? Can try, can make mistakes. We need to educate. We need to attract talent. We need different competences. And that's quite a journey, and we just started. Data, I gave a couple of examples, but data, we can use it for different reasons. Of course, you know it. You're in the industry. I'm not. I'm in this industry. And you know the data, you can use it for multiple reasons. We can use it for space optimization, but the same data, we can use it to drive our cost on cleaning, for example, or use it for customer satisfaction improvements. One data set, more use cases. Becoming demand-driven from a supply-driven organization, especially in the industry, and I'm talking not about the Netherlands, not about the UK, not about the Nordics. These are quite mature regions, but a lot of the services are sourced on input basis. And we want to make the transition to output and eventually to outcome driven. We want to help organizations, as I said, the purpose of the organization, how can we achieve the outcome together. Corporate structures, yes, we're slow, we're really slow. And we're now establishing some programs. The mindset of the board is there, that we need change. And we're working on that. We have a lot of learnings, insights from other companies, other corporates that are helping us. And there also comes the network in, of course. It's also the time when we need our network to develop, but also to learn and help each other. The ecosystem of partners, what I mentioned. We're on the Mendix World Congress. We're here today with KPN. Without them, we couldn't reach it. Magnus, for example. There are other partners here in the room. They helped us. We need the chain. And we need our clients as well, for example. We need our clients to get on board, to take a step in co-creation. Okay, we got a problem. This might be the solution, but we don't know it yet. These are the partners. Let's work together. And it works. We have some really great examples. One of the examples is that I'm here today telling this story about ISS together with KPN. So I hope I gave you a little bit of an introduction on ISS, our global presence, what we deliver, understanding the purpose of the customers and the human-to-human contact, and how can we unleash the power of the human-to-human contact by getting smart as an organization. So thank you for this part, and now I want to ask Joris to take over. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Herman. Is everybody? Yeah, I'm on. Everybody can hear me. What I would like to share with you is a couple of trends that we see at our customers, basically you guys, at this moment in time in the market. And then I would like to see whether we can translate that to how you can start, structure, and scale based on those trends. There we go. 3 trends that we see is, one is the most important one. One is the convergence of IoT, big data analytics, and business applications, rapid application developments. I think that this one is being hammered in during this conference over the last day and probably tomorrow as well. We consider this as the minimum viable product around IoT and applications at this moment in time. You can do something with data, you can use sensors, but if you're not gathering the data, aggregating the data, combining it, analyzing it, and then exposing it to the users or the customers, you basically have an incomplete solution. So that's one of the trends that we see. Anybody recognize that? Hands, please. Okay, yeah, that's already, I think, then a trend that everybody is being confronted with. The other one is increasing speed of developing IoT solutions. So I think that the last couple of weeks or months, a lot of companies were still very hesitant. So Gartner, for example, did a research last year where they said, okay, in the Netherlands, everybody is trying out proof of concepts, is piloting, but nobody is actually getting into production yet. The companies are working with IoT, rapid application development, but they don't take the big risks. Who is actually doing proof of concepts and pilots? Okay, and who's in production already with IoT? And okay, so I think that's a trend that we see here in the room as well. And we just did the jury of the hackathon. There were about 12 groups that developed solutions in 24 hours. And all of those 12 were really usable business ideas. Some were a little bit farther ahead than others, but I think that at least eight of them in 24 hours had very viable solutions that we could already test out. And there were 2 companies that basically provided the cases. There was ISS and Enexis, and there will surely be follow-up with the companies that did the hackathon. So you see the speed increasing. And the third one is a very important one, is I think the increasing demand for flexible sourcing. So where do the capabilities come from? Are they coming from the public cloud? Are they coming from your own data center? Are they coming from a system integrator? Or a combination of the above? So those are a number of important trends. And I'll go into those a little bit deeper in the next couple of slides. So if you look at convergence, and I hope it's you can see it because the text is a little bit small for the people in the back, I guess. Internet of Things, what we base that on at KPN is not only LoRa, and I will explain to you later what LoRa is, low power, wide range, but it's based on a number of sensors that distribute data via a network. And that data has to be aggregated in a data lake, and you can do that based on Hadoop or any other NoSQL type of environment. And then you need an environment like Mendix, rapid application development environment, to build applications with that, based on a public, private, or hybrid cloud support infrastructure. Who knows about the connected cow? You see the KPNers with their hands in the air. The connected cow is, I think, a nice example because we all talk about the Internet of Things, but the cow is not a thing. There's much more that you can connect to the Internet. You can connect elderly people to the Internet, basically, with if they have their bracelets. You can connect cows, etc. So I think this is a good example where sensors and those sensors were being made by Lely. Lely makes the milk machines that automatically, the milk robots that automatically milk the cows. Triador, they made the software basically to analyze the information about the cows. And then KPN provided the connectivity and the backbone infrastructure. And if you combine those capabilities, you can track the health of a cow, the activity, their sleeping patterns, just as with humans, and you can make them more productive. You can increase actually the production of milk twofold over the last couple of years, so that's an immense gain. And you can also improve their breeding, etc. So I think that it might be nice to look at a quick movie. I apologize for the people that are not Dutch speaking, because the movie is in Dutch. And since we can also not understand the language of our own farmers, it is subtitled, but it is subtitled in Dutch. So let's play the movie.
CLV houdt zich bezig met veeverbetering door middel van genetische oplossingen, dataverzameling, kunstmatige inseminatie en melkcontrole.
Ja, het bijzondere aan het bedrijf is denk ik dat we behoorlijk geautomatiseerd zijn. En die automatisering die helpt ons met het schenken aan meer individuele aandacht aan de koe.
Om een goed fokkerijbedrijf te hebben, vaar je ook volledig op data. Om daar goed iets slims over te kunnen zeggen, moet je er informatie van maken.
Iedereen praat natuurlijk over die Internet of Things. Ook op het boerenerf zie je dat er steeds meer gebruik wordt gemaakt van sensortechnologie. En wij verwerken die data en waarderen die data op, maar leveren ook management ondersteunende informatie terug aan de boer.
Als we kijken naar een ICT-partner, dan zijn de volgende punten voor ons cruciaal. Het leveren van beschikbaarheid, zorgen voor continuïteit, goede samenwerking, prijs-kwaliteit verhouding en quality of service. En een ander is de performance. KPN-dienstverlening voor CRV houdt eigenlijk in een compleet geïntegreerd pakket. We nemen zowel de datacommunicatie, inclusief de mobiele communicatie in het veld, als de datacenter-inrichting. Dat nemen we af op een utility hosting concept. Wat we als CRV heel belangrijk vinden in een partner is ook meedenken. We gaan steeds meer data verzamelen en belangrijk is ook wat je dan met data kunt doen.
In 2000 hebben wij het bedrijf overgenomen, toen molken we 100 koeien, nu 200. En dat doen we met dezelfde arbeidsbehoeften, dus in dezelfde tijd eigenlijk. En door alle hulpmiddelen die wij hebben is dat gelukt. En nog een fatsoenlijk sociaal leven, dat is ook nog wel belangrijk.
Now, what I like about the case is that it's traditionally, I think, a very conservative industry, the agriculture, but they are, I think, miles ahead of some of our more enterprise customers in terms of using this technology. So that's a nice case. So we talked about convergence, that was the first trend. I would like to talk about speed now, the second trend that we see. And Mark Benioff, who's the CEO of Salesforce, he was, and founder, by the way, of Salesforce, he said at Davos in 2016, this year, speed is the new currency of doing business, and companies are not competing with each other anymore, they are competing with speed. Now, well, for him it's a little bit self-serving, because he is, let's say, the vendor of one of the platforms that can basically accelerate your development. But I do think he has a point. And one of the things, who remembers Nicholas Carr, his article that he wrote in 2003? Anybody? No? And I think at that moment in time it was quite news. Some news. He said, okay, IT doesn't matter anymore. IT doesn't matter because everybody has access to the same capabilities and the same IT resources. So you can never create a competitive advantage if you all have access to the same capabilities. And I think that's true, but on the other hand, the companies that are able to adopt these technologies as quickly as possible, they will have a competitive advantage. Because I do think that it is very hard to properly use these various capabilities. And if you're capable as a company to quickly adopt this, then you have a competitive advantage. And some of the companies that are not able to do it and are not experimenting with these kind of platforms, etc., not experimenting with IoT or rapid application development or bimodal IT, whatever, they will be left behind. Another thing that we see worldwide, and I guess this slide probably has come up in previous sessions as well, is the extremely rapid growth of the things that are actually being connected to the internet. So worldwide, the estimate is And that's the conservative estimate. So I took the low end, is 25 billion devices by 2020. But you see them as high as 50 billion devices, etc. We think in the Netherlands we will have 200 million devices in the next couple of years connected to the internet. So now we have, in the past we connected homes, then we connected people with their smartphones, and the next couple of years everything will be connected. And you need, sorry, I forgot some points. You need, and that's possible. That has become possible because of the emergence of new technologies. So you have smaller and cheaper sensors, which is very, very important. If you have sensors that are $20 a piece, then it will probably be cost prohibitive for you to start with these scenarios. So now that you have them around €1, you need faster connectivity, and you also need new standards. And standards is something that we will talk about later on a little bit more. And you need a new connectivity as well, because with the existing connectivity options that there are, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, etc., you will not be able to support all the IoT scenarios that are out there. A scenario like the connected cow is only possible because we have something that's called LoRa. Who has heard of LoRa? Oh, that's a lot of people. So low power, wide range. You will have a network that you can basically use, let's say, nationwide or maybe even European-wide in the future, and it will consume very low energy. So the devices that you connect to this network will give small amounts of data very often, but it will almost use no energy at all. So you don't have to replace the batteries, etc., because those are all scenarios that are prohibitive for rolling out something like this competitively. And this is one of the things that we actually sped it up because of the demand of our customers. This is the coverage of our LoRa network in the Netherlands will be completed by the end of next month. And we actually accelerated this because the customer said, okay, we would like to have this as quickly as possible. And this is important because this also enables you to move from proof of concept to pilot and finally into production now. If we have an enterprise-grade network connectivity in the Netherlands, that's the next step that you will be able to take. Another thing that grows really quickly is our IoT Partner Ecosystem. The IoT players in the market grow exponentially. This is a subset of the partners that we have at KPN. It's, I think now, counting over 200. And it tells you something about the huge potential of the market, because lots of companies are entering in there. But it also tells you something about the immaturity of the market, because it's very immature, it's very fragmented, and there will be a big shakeout over the next coming years, is the expectation. So that was the second trend. The third trend is flexible sourcing. And I have a question for you guys about where you would like to host these type of solutions. So who of you would prefer to host these type of solutions from their own data center? Basically nobody? Who would like to host this from a public cloud infrastructure? Okay, I think six hands. Who would like to have the flexibility of combining the on-premise infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, with the infrastructure of a system integrator that basically can also add services to that? Okay. Well, I think that's the show of hands is very consistent with the research that Automatiseringsgids did late last year, where 50% of IT decision makers say, okay, we prefer a hybrid solution because we can, and there's a number of reasons for that, we can prevent lock-in, so we have an exit strategy. We sometimes the government or our vital infrastructures, like utility companies, they need local data storage because of laws and regulations. You can have specific security requirements, like the banking industry. But I think one is very, very important, and that is the flexibility to start, structure, and scale. If you have a variety of options on which you can land those solutions, it becomes very flexible to start in your own infrastructure, very small. Maybe add one cloud service that you need, one IoT service from Azure or Amazon Web Services or whatever, or a more specialized party, and then grow from there. So the options are important. And this, and by pure coincidence, this is the KPN managed hybrid cloud, but I think lots of other parties have something similar like this as well. Shows you that you can use networking to connect securely to various cloud stacks, to make sure that you can also connect to the hyperclouds of IBM, Microsoft, Amazon, etc., and the ones that maybe will evolve. And you also are able to manage it in a professional way with dashboarding, etc. And in this way, you are able to integrate that with your own backend infrastructure, where there's lots of data that you will use in these scenarios, make use of the scalability of the cloud, and have security, etc., and reliability and consistency built in. Okay, then how can we use these trends to get more towards start, structure, and scale? And what we have found is that one of the things that we need to do at our customers at this moment in time is drive awareness, because there are a lot of customers that really don't actually see all the potential or don't know the different scenarios in which they can use rapid application development together with IoT, together with data analytics. And we do that with our Internet of Things Academy, which is at the Rotterdam Makerspace. And we always try to do that in a very, let's say, open, innovative environment. And we try to invite different stakeholders from companies to to these academies. So the IT decision makers, as well as the engineers, as well as the field force, etc., and let them work together on coming up with new scenarios, just as we did with the hackathon today. And that works wonders. And then the other one is just claim your successes also when they are unintended. So I love Calvin and Hobbes. I mean, he stumbles and he does like it. He made a salto on purpose, and he claims his victory. Another one is create a functional and a technical architecture. So here you see a conceptual architecture of IoT combined with data analytics and connectivity. You measure something based on on your sensors. On the left side, that could be temperature, noise, location, vibrations, humidity, you name it. You connect it via any connectivity means that you have, not always only LoRa, but also 2G, 3G, but also short-range connectivity like RFID or NFC or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. So you have a mix of connectivity options. You will have data storage and analytics based on an enterprise NoSQL environment. You need to monitor, predict, and act, so you have to build some kind of intelligence and machine learning and an application around it, and you can optimize your business with it. And I think that it is nice to basically mention the parties that are involved at ISS in these steps, because measure was done by one M2M, connectivity, of course, by KPN. The LoRa connector to Mendix was being built by First Consulting. The application was built by Magnus Green. And then ISS is basically responsible for sticking their neck out and take some risks. So you see that you have a whole ecosystem of parties to make this actually work. So that's, I think, the challenge in a lot of these scenarios. Then, one step deeper, if you look at the architecture, this is the conceptual architecture, so you have a number of sources. You now have a message broker or a data router, and also there some mitigation has to be done. So mediation, you need a big data lake, you need an application platform, you need a presentation layer, and if you want to expose the services that you build externally, you also need something of an API management layer. So for KPN, that looks almost like this, not exactly, but we have LoRa, Jasper Wireless. 5G Jasper was just acquired by Cisco. It's one of the big players in there. Apache Nifi, which is a message broker that basically does data routing, etc. You have a number of options around your big data infrastructure. It could be SAP HANA, it could be Hadoop, it could be MarkLogic, it could be a combination of those. You have your PaaS infrastructure, so we work there together with Azure, we work with Amazon Web Services, we work, of course, with Mendix. You've seen that today, and Bluemix is mentioned there as well. Then you have on the front end, you have any kind of web front end that you would like to use, that you maybe already as the standard within your organization. And then you need a type of API management if you want to expose and measure and monitor those services and deliver those to other organizations. So this is, let's say, a possible IoT data application reference architecture. And then, this is the last slide. One thing I cannot stress enough is to remove and also focus also on the organizational issues. So remove the organizational blockers. This is actually a research that Gartner did at the beginning of this year. These are the 6 most important issues that you need to address when you want to be successful in this area. So start with quantifying the business value. I mean, if there is no business value, you will never move from your proof of concept to a pilot to production. And that means that in an early stage, you have to involve the business to come up with valuable scenarios. And I think that Herman also mentioned that a couple of times. Address security and privacy issues. That's a no-brainer, of course. Pick standards carefully. That's a very tricky one because there aren't many standards at this moment in time. And there will be a shakeout in the next couple of years. So what I would say here is, not only pick the standards carefully, but be prepared to change, to rip out a component and replace it with something else if you made the wrong bet. And for sure, you will make the wrong bet in the next couple of years, and like we will. Determine ownership in the organization, because you have seen that there's lots of stakeholders involved. You need some, at some point level in the organization, you need somebody that is overall responsible to bring those parties together and to make that ecosystem work. Select the right vendors, and I think very important, make sure you have the right skills, but I think there's a tremendous amount of skills here today at Mendix, and lots of people that get better and better in building these solutions. So I would like to conclude with that, and thank you for your attention, and we will be here if there's any questions over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you very much.